Creating the perfect box for your handmade cards has never been easier. In this video, I'll guide you step by step to make a custom sized box for this 3D card we made last week, as well as for a box set of cards and envelopes. With just a few tools and a simple formula, you'll learn to craft a box that fits perfectly every time. Say goodbye to store-bought boxes and hello to professional-looking handmade packaging. Hey everyone, it's Lean from ColoradoLean.com. Welcome back to the craft room. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I have wasted so much cardstock trying to create the perfect size box. Back in 2022, I discovered a YouTube video that completely changed the game for me. I'll link that video down below, along with a corresponding blog post at ColoradoLean.com. Even though I've written about this before, today I'm going to show you just how easy it is to make a perfectly sized box for your cards. And I'm going to give you two different examples. Let's get started with the Christmas Rose birthday card that I made last week. So in order to create our custom sized box, we need to know a couple of things about the items going into the box. We need to know the height, the width, and the depth. So our A2 card here is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And if I take the ruler, it's kind of hard to completely measure this, but let's just say this card is a little under 3/4 of an inch thick. And that is how thick our flower is. So in boxes, typically I don't mind and I prefer a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm going to increase my numbers by about 1/4 of an inch, and that will give me plenty of room. So on our worksheet here, to create our box bottom, we need the depth of the box plus the width of the item plus the depth of the box. So that is 2 sides and the bottom. And then we also need the depth of the box, the length of the item, and again, the depth of the box. And this will tell us how big of a piece of cardstock we need for the bottom of the box. Now, the trick is when you're cutting this on 2 sides, take off a 1/16 of an inch, just a tiny smidge. And that will give us a small enough box bottom so that the lid fits comfortably over the top. And then for the box top, we need, of course, the width and the length of the item, but the depth is, it can be the same depth as the box bottom if you want the lid to go all the way down, or if you want a little bit of the box bottom to show, then you can make that number a little bit shorter. So let's go ahead and fill this out for our Christmas Rose birthday card. So, as I said, it's an A2 size card. So it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But I do want to increase that number. So the width of my item is going to be 4 1/2 inches. And the height or the length of my item will be 5 3/4. And then I want my sides to be 3/4 of an inch tall. So we need to add that over here. So this will give us a total of 6 inches by 7 1/4 inches. So when we cut this, we will be cutting it just a little bit less than that. And now for our box top, again, we have a width of 4 1/2. and a length of 5 3/4. And I want my box top to come down 1/2 inch. So I will add that in. And that will give us a piece of paper that is 5 1/2 inches by 6 3/4 of an inch. And this we will cut exactly at 5 1/2 by 6 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and put a copy of this into my Google Drive, and you are more than welcome to download it and keep it handy and use it as you need. So let's go ahead and bring out a paper trimmer and some cardstock and get started making our box. Okay, so I'm going to be using some 110-pound cardstock from Recollections for our box, and I'm going to use the gray piece for the bottom. Let's go ahead and cut this at a little less than 6 inches. I am using my Tim Holtz and Tonic Studios rotary paper trimmer. Love this thing. It is just a little bit large though. So I will cut that just shy of 6 inches. And then we will turn this to 7 1/4. And then I will cut it just a little bit short. And now for our white cardstock, we will cut this at exactly 5 1/2. By 6 3/4. All right, I am bringing in my Martha Stewart scoreboard. And let's go ahead and start with the box bottom. Now, if you'll recall, we need 3/4 of an inch on the sides. So we will go ahead and score this on all 4 sides at 3/4 of an inch. And now for our box top, if you'll recall, I want a 1/2 inch lip on that box top. So again, I will score this at 1/2 inch. Okay, so with my cutter bee scissors, we're going to go ahead and trim up from each score line up to the next one. So we will just trim that up to make a little flap. And I like to take a little bit of cardstock out to make myself a nice little notch like that. So I'm going to do this on this side, and then I will rotate it and do it on this side. And then I will do the same thing for the box bottom. Okay, now that I have the notches cut, let's go ahead and fold and burnish our score lines. Now, when you're working with a small line like this, just go slow. Just gently work it until you can fold it all the way over. All right, now it is time to start gluing our box together. So I'm going to use a combination of art glitter glue and Scor-tape. To me, that just keeps everything together. And I am going to change that 1/4 inch out for the 1/8 inch. And I'm just going to put down 2 small pieces of tape on each of the flaps. And then if you burnish your tape down like this, it will be easier to get the release paper off. And then I'm going to put a little bit of Scor-tape or a little bit of art glitter glue on top of the tape as well as on the cardstock. And then I am just going to fold it over, line up my edges, and then press it down. And there is our box bottom. I am going to add a little dab of glue right in this corner because we do want that to be adhered well. Now, because I am using a 110-pound card, and that's probably why it's pulling up just a tiny bit on the edges there. All right, we will set that aside to dry, and I will go ahead and get our cover done. And there is our box top. And the moment of truth. Now, it might be a little tight when you first put them on. They usually are for me. I don't know why. Okay, there it goes. And that is a good tight fit. So you wouldn't necessarily have to put a ribbon or a string on this if you didn't want to. If you wanted to dress it up, that would be good. And then you just set your card in, and it has a little bit of room to move around. There it goes. That is the perfect size box for this beautiful Christmas rose birthday card. Now, what I'm most likely going to do is I'm going to decorate the front of the top of the box. Depending on how you want to decorate it, I would suggest doing that before you glue it together. But I'm just going to put some of the decorations on from the card, not the entire card front. But I am going to spice this up just a little bit. So now let's move on to our second example. So for our second example today, I am going to make a gift box for this set of 10 mini slimline cards and envelopes. So let's go ahead and bring in our worksheet again. And the way we're going to measure this, it's kind of difficult to get the depth of these because you don't want to squish them down. So what I do is I just stack them up the way I'm going to put them in the box. And then I use my ruler to hold it up like this. And I will go ahead and insert a picture here of what that looks like. When I measured this, it is approximately it's about a 1 inch deep for depth. So I'm just going to add that up to 1¼ inches. And then that will give me plenty of room. So let's go ahead and put that in 1¼ and I will add that in each location. And then to get the measurements for the rest of the box, we need to use the envelope, not the card. So this particular mini slimline envelope is 6.5 inches wide. And again, I'm going to give that plenty of room. So I will make that 6 3/4 of an inch. And it is about 3 5/8 inch tall. But again, I'm going to give it just a little bit of wiggle room. So we will make that 3 3/4. So this will give us 6 1/4 inches. And this measurement is 9 1/4. So we will cut our box bottom a little shy of 6 1/4 by 9 1/4. So for our box top, we will go ahead and fill in 3 3/4 and 6 3/4. And I want to have another lip, not a lip, but to show a little bit of the bottom of the box. For me, it's easier to open boxes if I can grasp the bottom of it. So I'm going to have about 1/2 inch of the bottom showing. So we'll go ahead and make that 3/4 of an inch. So I will fill that in. And then that will give us 5 1/4 by 8 1/4. All right, so again, I am using 110-pound Recollections cardstock and my Tim Holtz and Tonic Studio paper trimmer, rotary paper trimmer. So for the box bottom, we need a piece that is a little shy of 6 1/4 by 9 1/4. So let's go ahead and cut that down. So there's 9 1/4 and a little shy from that. And 6 1/4. And then I'm going to use a piece of gray cardstock for the top. And again, we will cut that at 5 1/4 by 8 1/4, and these will be exact cuts. So we will go 5 1/4 inches by 8 1/4. All right, and again with the Martha Stewart scoreboard, for the box bottom, we will score at 1 1/4. And for the box top, we will score at 3/4 of an inch. So this will be 1 1/4 on all four sides. And then our box top will be at 3/4 of an inch. And then once again, we will trim up on the score line up to the score line. And then I will take a little notch out. And I will do that on this side and then rotate it to this side. And now we will go ahead and fold and burnish our score lines. So I am moving up to the 1/4 inch Scor-tape since my flaps are a little bit larger. And the reason I like to use Scor-tape and art glitter glue is the tape will hold right away before the glue dries, but the glue gives you a chance to move things around before the tape actually completely takes hold. And again, we'll just add some art glitter glue and then line everything up. And then press it in place. All right, and there is our box bottom and our box top. And as you can see, it fits perfectly. There is a nice little lip there for you to hang on to, and the top doesn't fall off. So that is nice. Just make sure all my glue is dry on the inside. And then let's see how our Christmas cards fit. And that is the perfect fit. And there we go. Now these are a little bit heavier, so we might want to put a band on here before we gift them to family or friends. But there we go. Well, here are our 2 finished custom size boxes. They are so easy to make once you know the trick, reducing the bottom by a 1/16 of an inch. I went ahead and decorated the lids to match the items inside, but that's totally optional. Last year, I made custom boxes for our stocking gifts, and I used a sturdy pattern paper for the lids instead of cardstock. And this worked out beautifully. Thank you so much for joining me for today's How to Make Custom Size Boxes video. Don't forget to check the description for a link to the free worksheet, as well as the corresponding blog post. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. For even more crafting inspiration, visit my blog at coloradolean.com. Thanks so much for watching and have an amazing week. I'll see you next time. Bye.